Alright, so if you've been following along with the last couple of videos, you should have this ready to go. The link for this is on the CSS video. However, I made some changes to the JavaScript file. So we added HTML elements, and then we used CSS to style the various elements. Whenever you go into a page on the internet, and I'll just use this artist Raphael as an example, because he has some pretty cool artwork, creative coding artwork here. Any website that you find that maybe you're interested in, you could open up the dev tools, and on a Windows, the way I do that is pressing F12. And so these are developer tools here, and on a Mac you can, I think, right click and get to the developer tools somehow, and you'll see that there's an elements section. And now that we know a little bit about HTML and CSS, we could sort of decode some other people's websites. Maybe there's an immersive website that we found that we really want to explore, figure out how they did it. You can look in here. So just to really hit home how cool this functionality or ability is, I'm just gonna go to this home art piece that this artist made, and I'm gonna full screen it. And here I'm gonna open up the dev tools, F12. And here up top, I'll go back into the elements section. And once you're in the elements section, you can see the HTML. You can do drop downs and read over everything. There's a couple of scripts in here. If you press on the three dots, right? I'm going to, in the elements, at the top where it says HTML, you see it's highlighted the whole screen. Right click that, go to edit as HTML, and here you can grab all of this, or just Control A and copy it, and then open up just like an empty VS Code page. And here I already made a little project just to make sure that this works, but just gonna say index.html, and I'm just gonna paste that there. If you want the text not to go off screen like that, you can just go to View and Word Wrap. And so now we can see everything, and we can see this script that this genius made. And we can right click, show preview, and boom, we've opened up a Raphael project right on our local environment. And then whenever you open up in browser and press F12, and you can go over into the console and make sure you are reading any error that pops up will be right over here. And we've created these elements, but now we need to interact with them in JavaScript. So I will show you how to do that, but first I just want to give a brief explanation of what I've done here. So since the last video, I cleaned up the script and restructured it, and everything was going down in the draw function. So instead of putting all of that stuff there, I decided to create an object or a class called circle, and I rewrote everything here. So basically what's happening from top down is we've got our canvas, and we've, if you recall, we repositioned it to push it back behind our HTML layer, and we set its position to fixed so that when we scroll the background doesn't move up and down, it just stays fixed. I set color mode to HSB, hue, saturation, and brightness, because that's my preference. No stroke on the circles. We've got circle size, half size, and repel distance. This is for just like organizing the grid of circles here. And initialize circles function here is referencing this function, which is pushing my circle objects in a grid. So it goes on from 0 to width and from 0 to height. The circles are being drawn at XY, so pushed all the way across the page, and they're spaced out based on this half size that I created. Half size is the half of the circle size, so that's why you can see that they are touching each other whenever I don't mess with them. They're just like at the edge of the size. Cool, so that's initializing those circles in the beginning. And then just coming back up into my setup function, this mouse X and mouse Y are here because if you comment them out and you notice up at the top left, just based off of the default mouse position is set at 0, 0, even if your mouse is not on the page. So I just I reposition the mouse at negative width divided by 2, negative height divided by 2, just like an arbitrary area off the page so that it doesn't move until I put my mouse on the page. So that's that. So let's go back to initialize circles and see that we're pushing the circle object. So this is where I've created the circle object at the bottom. I have within this object various methods. So the constructor, you're always going to have that to place your variables for the object. And the variables are described as this dot x and this dot, using this dot, which I've described in a previous video that I made in my P5 playlist, so check it out if you don't know what like how to use a class. So I broke up what was happening in the draw function before into 3 methods. Method 1, change color. Method 2, display circle, and method 3, repel circle. So I just have everything to do with changing color here, and then just displaying the circle, having the circle show up is here, and then anything having to do with my mouse repelling the circles is happening in this method here. So now we can go into the draw function, and I'm just drawing my background at a lower alpha value so that you can see some tracers. And then here for let circle of circles, this is describing the object array that I made, calling the method in the object circle.changeColor and circle.repel circle. So if I commented out this line here and I move my mouse, you can see that it can no longer repel the circle. And here I have function window resized because if I drag my window, I just want it to resize in real time. So within this function, I put resize canvas window.innerWidth window.innerHeight. I have to reinitialize my circles. So pretty much anything that happens in the setup function, you want to kind of put in the window resize, because if the window resizes, you want that to happen again. But you can tweak things around and play with it as you go. I hope that wasn't too much, but I just wanted to give you a breakdown of the code that we're looking at. Let's move on to working with those HTML elements. We've got these guys and we want to make them interactive and dynamic somehow. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to add IDs to the elements. So you're in your index.html, choose the element that you want to interact with. For me, the first one that I'm going to choose is the image. So over here in image, I'll just, before source, I'll just put an ID. Oh. And equals, open, close, quotation marks, and just give it some ID name. I'll put main image, and remember, you can't put spaces, you have to put dashes. So that's good there. And I will just copy that because I'm going to rewrite it in my JavaScript file. Create a variable called main image, or whatever you want to call it, and use the select function. And this is a P5 function here that just selects the HTML element, obviously. And then you can use that ID name. So I'm just going to paste the ID name here. And you may have to put a little hash mark in front of it, I think. And next up, we will just add an event to it. So you'll say, reference the main image variable that you just made. And it's already writing it for us, but you could do, we already have this mouse over thing happening. So I'll do main image dot mouse pressed instead. And if it's giving you this here, just press tab, enter, and close it with a squiggly. And this, close it with a squiggly, parentheses, and a semicolon actually. So this is like a container that is creating a function. So instead of doing this, you could just do this, and inside of the parentheses you could put a custom function. Maybe what I want to do whenever I press the image is make it bigger. So I could create a make big function, make big, and then come down here where I put all my functions and create a function called make big, and then put stuff here. That is one option, but I'm going to stick with this way of doing things and write it like this. So anytime the mouse is pressed within this function here, what do I want to happen? So I want it to get bigger. So I'm going to say main image dot style. This is because in my style.css, I've got my image width, and so I'm just going to use this property of width and sort of like copy this, everything that I'm doing here over here. So style references the style sheet, right? So open close parentheses and tick marks. I'll use the width property, set it to 100%, and let's see if it works. Cool. So it made my image bigger here when I press on it, but now it's stuck being big forever. So I will change that with a little boolean. I'll create a global variable up top called make big and set it to false, and that'll be a boolean. So I can switch it to big and then switch it to regular size. I want it to toggle back and forth, so that's why I need the Boolean. And in the mouse pressed function, every time the mouse is pressed on the image, I will turn make big into not make big. So make big true, make big false, right? Every time it's pressed. And then if, oh, it already wrote it out for me, so I'll just press tab here and get rid of this extra style. So if make big, then style it at 100%, else style it at, instead of 50, I'll do the original number, which I think was 30%. And I can just go back and check my style sheet to see, oh no, it was at 20%. So I actually want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'll change this to 30. Back in the JavaScript area, we can test this out. So click and click and click and click. So cool, it's toggling back and forth, and if I press anywhere else, it doesn't do anything at all. So let's change something else. Let's do something with I exist, and where I exist is occurring, we'll just put an ID equal open close quotations. I'll call it header 2. And copy that and sort of just do what I did here with my main image. So let header 2 equal select hash header 2, and then header 2 dot, and instead of doing mouse pressed, I'm going to do mouse over. Close it with this squiggle, parentheses, and semicolon here. So whenever my mouse is over the header 2, what do I want to happen? I kind of want it to like grow bigger, or maybe it can grow bigger and change color. Let's see. So if I go into style.css, we're wanting to change the size of this here. So I just got some Copilot help here, and the way to change the size is to use font size. So let's try that out. Style, font size, comma, 10 viewport height. So if it's over, make it big, but if it's not, then we want to make it small again. You'll do header 2 dot mouse out, and then header dot style, font size, and 5 viewport height. So when it's on, it's at 10. When it's out, it's at 5. Cool. And we can change the color as well. So header, oh, it read my mind. Color red. So, and then, okay, we have to change it back on the way out. Cool, so that is a overview of how you might reference the HTML elements and change their style using JavaScript. From here on out, you can pretty much do everything in JavaScript. P5.js has the text function, it's got the image function. It's just kind of easier to work like within JavaScript the whole time. And before we end this here, I just want to go over to the P5 references and show you something. So if you go to p5js.org/reference, and you can like click over here at reference, you can scroll down, like all the way down, until you get to this section called DOM. So the DOM elements are So there's like a create image function to create A for creating a link, and you'll recall that A is for anchor. And you can create a slider. You can create a button. You can create capture, which is capturing using the camera on your laptop to create video input. And here are events that can occur, I believe. So like mouse over is something that we played with. Mouse pressed is something that we played with. Mouse moved, mouse out. There is also mouse wheel, so if you like scroll the wheel. So yeah, there's a ton of different functions that you can play with, and you can click in and read more about here. And so I encourage you to just explore that and get experimental with it. And in the next video, we are going to deploy our site to GitHub Pages.